Yo, salute. It's your boy Gmo Legion of Knicks, man. Sorry, I was a little late. As y'all can see, I'm still in my work clothes. Coming back from work. I thought that when I changed jobs, I would have even more time to do this show. And it's literally the opposite. Like, I have even less time. Oh, my gosh, son. This is ridiculous, bro. I appreciate each and every one of you guys here, man. Let me see. My boy Nick is supposed to be here. Darcy, who asked me to do the show, is supposed to be here. Not say I would have done. I'm trying to do at least one show a week for you guys. But let me see the StreamYard. Maybe he's in the back. Pause. As my Mets are finally winning something. Bum-ass Mets, bro. Oh, my gosh. Every freaking team I support is eating a straight butt right now, man. Well, not every team, but all my teams I support just underwhelming, bro. Just underwhelming. So yeah, we don't got anybody here yet. Hold on, let me text these guys. I just started. As we got the draft today, first round, which is just dumb. Why don't they? The second round is not interesting enough. Let me see. The second round is not interesting enough for you to have a whole day towards it. Adam Silver, bro, hire me, bro. You need some ideas for the NBA, man. You trying to follow the NFL. You following the wrong ish, bro. You're following the wrong ish, bro. I don't know what the hell you're doing, but it's not smart by any stretch of imagination. But let's get started, man. Got the draft tonight, man. All right, we got to see Cooper Flag. You got Ace Bailey. An interesting dynamic I want to talk about, especially if Nick gets here in time. He's running late. One thing I want to talk about is the fact that you're going to have a lot more kids who are going to use the NIL and the threat of staying in school to pick where they want to go to. Now, you heard about Ace Bailey essentially missing draft workouts, saying that he only wants to go to 3 teams. Those are the Nets, Pelicans, and somebody else. But this guy was missing draft workouts and not showing up. And don't get me wrong, Ace Bailey's a talented player. I don't know if he's good enough to be doing all that. But again, the dynamics have changed. You're gonna have some kid who's like, look, I'll make another several million in college, especially now with the colleges that are able to pay the students directly. These kids could just threaten and say, hey, I'm going to sit until I go back into it. And it's been happening for years in other sports. Remember football? Remember Peyton Manning went back to school because he didn't want to get chosen by the Jets, number one. Piece of shit. Didn't want to get chosen by the Jets. Thank you. Wizards, Nets, Pelicans. Thank you, Almighty Finesse. I missed the Wizards. Peyton Manning didn't want to get picked by the Jets. We ended up picking Keyshawn Johnson. And then the next year he went to the Colts. Right? So you're going to see a lot. These kids use a lot more leverage. Now, let's be clear. They have the leverage. They can do what they want. I don't want to hear about because we know there's going to be some racial stuff, some racial things in between the lines. Where people are like, oh my gosh, these kids was like, oh. Y'all were doing it in college, in football. Plenty of kids back in the day, quarterbacks, Elway threatened to go to baseball. You know what I'm saying? So these guys, they've been doing it for years. Let's not play that game. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So F all that. Oh my gosh, these kids are. I remember when these Dabo Sweeney. I can't stand that guy. I'm not even a college football guy like that. But when this guy was fighting against these kids getting paid money. Oh, they're here to learn. No, they're not. They're not here to learn. They're here to bash their brains in and make you all that money from your TV contracts. Stop it. You could care less if these kids go and get a 4-year education. You care less what they're doing. You just care if they get you to beat, if they're good enough for you to beat Alabama. So stop that. Pay these kids for their likeness, for you using them, and shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear none of that. Let's go, Lindor, you bum. All right, that's a fly out. Let's go. At least somebody will score. Yo, my Mets, son. What are we? Lost 8 in the last 9, bro. The worst. But let me actually get to the draft because I want to say some of these picks as we're covering tonight. But let's start off, man. I'll wait till some guys come in. I'm waiting for Nick G and my boy Darcy. Everybody's late, man. This is what happens, bro. When you want to, if you want to do a channel, a podcast, bro, do that when you're young, when it's early. You have time, bro. Trust. It is not that I'm being lazy, whatever. It is time. Time is the biggest asset you'll ever have in your life. As is that VJ Edgecombe? You got picked second? Yes, that is from Baylor. Very good player, explosive. Even though I think he could have done better at Baylor, there's a lot of potential there. A lot of potential there. So, yeah, he's an explosive player, but you gotta get the shot down pack, bro. You don't. What would you call him? Would you call him like a Christian Koulibaly? I don't know. But anyway, let's get started, man. Micah Nori, coach, assistant coach for the Knicks have just, I don't know if they interviewed or interested in interviewing. Assistant coach, he actually coached one game, excuse me. Oh my gosh, these glasses hurt my freaking ears, man. That coach one game for the Washington, I can't even talk. Coach for the Timberwolves after a man caught that knee injury, Chris Finch. Is a player who's been believed to be very, I don't know if it's eccentric, charismatic, energetic type of assistant coach, but, you know, which assistant coach really isn't? I mean, most of these guys, that's the name of the game, right? Wait, hold on. My bad. Let me see. Who got picked second? So Ace Bailey went second? No, Harper went second. My bad. Dylan Harper. I was about to say Derek Harper. He went to the Spurs? Dylan Harper to the Spurs. Now, one person was saying that, what's the name, is going to go fifth. Jeremiah, what's this guy's name? Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? The explosive guard, Jeremiah Fears, is going to go fifth, even though he's believed to go around number 7. But Jeremiah Fears. Anyway, let me get back to Micah Nori. And again, I put out a slide, bro. It's very hard to actually pinpoint what this guy's exactly good at. Now, I do want to play a clip of him breaking down something because I know people, oh my gosh, he's done it. I've seen people on Twitter jacking this dude off, excuse my language, but I'm just like, stop it, dogs. Stop it. Now, again, as you can see here, coaching record, doesn't have one. Coaching tree, Chris Finch, 16 years as assistant coach. Now, interestingly enough, as Monica McNutt is looking pretty healthy tonight. This guy has a weird career. He started out, obviously, as assistant coach, long-time assistant coach, was it 16 years? But he was playing baseball at Indiana University. Was a grad student at Miami University. Got his master's degree from Miami University. This is a guy that was playing baseball. I believe he got hurt. But even before he stopped playing baseball, your man was putting up numbers. He's actually a solid baseball player. He say he stopped playing because he thought his athleticism, whatever, was going to be absolute trash. Lack of athleticism was stop pursuing it professionally. But it's like, bro, you could have been a DH. Before he started at Indiana University, he put up a 305 average, 20 home runs, 127 RBIs, 116 runs, 35 doubles, 18 stolen bases. And then became the hitting coach for the Hoosiers back in 2005. But your man could play, bro. So he's an athletic guy. He knows the game. He came out under Chris Finch when they're both in Denver. Nori was the assistant there, and Finch was associate head coach. Stayed in touch with him. Joined him when he went to the Pelicans and kind of followed him over to the Timberwolves. And again, I just want to play one clip on Micah Nori because he does like these breakdowns and whatnot on Twitter. Excuse me. For the Wolves, like post games and whatnot. But wait, what? What the hell? Hey, yo, my bad. Yo, something just... my bad. Micah Nori. I want to play out one clip of what your man said Because people, oh my gosh, this is really deep-ish right here. Now, because this is a little clip on Cat. Let's play this real quick so everybody can see how so-called in-depth and special this guy is.
Sorry to interrupt Stat Storm, but Cat is back.
Yeah.
He played 21 games, missed 50 plus, but he is back tonight. And along with it, we are hoping for the 21, 8, and 5 that we've been missing over the last few months. Couple things you'll see tonight. Obviously, new player Mike Conley in the mix now instead of D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
And the way that we'll incorporate these two back in the fold with Mike is a simple horns action that a lot of people use. And you'll look for this tonight, which is a simple ball.
Whoa. Horns action? What did he say? Horns action?
Ball screen here. Cat will set it. Mike will come off. Obviously, Cat, one of the best shooters in the NBA, has the ability to pop. Then what we can do is flare Cat. We call this screen right here. After he sets it a flare to free up. And now Cat's popping. And here's where the decision comes in for the defense. If Rudy decides that he's going to switch because of the good screen that he has set on Cat's defender, he pops out now. Rudy has the ability to roll him down. So two things to look for on this. Good screen, no switch. Cat 3, which we've all seen top of the floor, which he shoots better than anybody in the league. Or a smaller defender, Cat, having to try to defend Rudy as he rolls down in the paint. And with Cat's size, it's a simple high-low for a deep seal in the paint, which usually is going to end up in a Rudy dunk or a Rudy foul. But just look for this simple three-man combination tonight as we reintroduce Cat back into.
Whoa, that's crazy. You know who else ran horns action? Tom effing Thibodeau. Tom effing Thibodeau. All this talk about maximizing Cat, doing this and that for Cat. Your man is, bro. It's not obviously it's not at Micah Nori. These guys run the same basketball plays for the most part, bro. They're not doing anything that much different in NBA. So when they talk like this, I'm telling you, they run the same crap. But these guys can't execute. You talk about Rudy Gobert. You think Mitch Robinson's going to set screens? To set that screen and roll to the back? Bro, your guy was, in the playoffs against the Pacers. Mitchell Robinson literally it was a game 4, was getting Brunson in trouble by not setting the proper screens, not coming up at the pinch and the horn sets. I remember there was one turnover Brunson had because your man didn't step up, and Brunson's like, waiting for you to come and be at the pinch so you can use as a possible screener. Look, man, and that falls into one of my questions with this guy. And I'm not ishing on Micah Nori. Could be a smart guy. I have no idea, right? And there are other clips. I want to play another clip of Micah Nori, him breaking down, defending Halliburton on one, defending Luka Doncic on one. I thought was really, really interesting. And I want to play one because you're gonna hear something interesting. Let me just give me a few seconds. I know I played it yesterday. I don't know why it's not. I can't see it. Did I pass it? Oh, here it is. And I wish I could show y'all the video, but I don't want to get no trouble. No trouble.
Tonight on Inside the Game, we're going to talk about defending Luka Doncic. Number one, he is top 3 in time of possession, so he has the ball in his hand as much as anyone in the NBA. He also is top 3 in usage, and what usage is, he's either taking the shot, a turnover counts as his usage, or he is making the pass that leads to the shot. So he is using that team's possession, or their team's possession. And then he is also top 3 in screens, where he is the ball handler and someone is coming up to set it. So the ways that we can attack him tonight from a defensive standpoint is we can be up at the level, and when we play up at the level, what we're saying is, Luka, we're going to get the ball out of your hand, and we're not going to let you beat us yourself. So what we're going to do here is We want to make sure we're into the ball, no rejects, because his step back, if he rejects to the left and doesn't go to the ball screen, he's shooting almost 50% on step back threes to his left. So we want to send him over the screen. As he comes over the screen, the big is going to be there. The small will be right here. So essentially there's 2 on the basketball. What that means is as this guy rolls, we have to be ready to tag so he can't throw it to the big. And what Luka's going to do, there's not a pass he can't make. 9 times out of 10, he's going to throw this ball all the way to this corner, which he's very good at. At that point, we're in a tandem. He's dropping down. He is ready to take the first pass. And then we have to be ready to X back out here. So what that's going to do is basically say, Luka, you're not beating us tonight. We're going to make these guys make contested threes to beat us in the game. The other thing we can do, which is just a little bit different, is a drop coverage. A drop coverage is essentially we're going to say, we're going to play you 2-on-2 tonight, Luka. These guys are staying home with their matchups to take away his kickouts. And then as he comes down here to Rudy, we just got to make sure it turns into a 2-on-2 game, and hopefully they're taking these shots, which are long twos, which are tough to make.
Whoa. That sounds very familiar. On the first one, what did he say? Tag defense. Your man got to step up to help and then cross rotate. And once Luka makes a deep pass, after Luka's man comes and tags on a big roll into the basket, Luka makes a deep pass to the guy in the corner. So the guy that's defending the guy at the wing now shoots out to the guy at the corner. And now the guys who are originally guarding Luka up top now switch over to that wing option. Wow, that sounds very familiar. I could have sworn Tibbs did that. That's crazy. It's the same damn ish. But if you can't execute, everybody looks bad. This is no disrespect to Micah Nori whatsoever. As my brother Darcy is finally in the building with us. Darcy, I'm going to get to you in like 2 seconds, bro. They all have the same concepts for the most part, excuse me. It's all the same concepts, my guy. See my brother Darcy. I'm going to get to you in a few seconds, bro. It's the same ish. And we talk about a coach. Look, bro, the Knicks have to get to the championship next year. I'm not saying this because Tom Thibodeau got fired. As the Eastern Conference is now shifted, the Celtics, we actually succeeded in getting the Celtics out of here. We scared them so much, they said, you know what? We ain't trying to play the luxury tax. We ain't going to try to go at this again. Tatum is hurt. Let's rebuild this. Let's retool this, excuse me. Get rid of some big... Let's move on from KP. Drew Holiday, it's nice knowing you. Halliburton and the Pacers are not going to be ready. Heat, 76ers, as you see them, they breaking up that team. Now, one team I'm a little Orlando Magic. They got the shooting they need with Desmond Bane. They got a lot of young players who's still developing. They got Paolo Banchero. They got Mo Wagner and Franz Wagner coming back. There's not a fun front court to play against defensively. So I'm saying be very careful about Orlando. Pistons, they got a lot of free agents. I don't think they overachieved with some of those guys off the bench. Malik Beasley, Schroeder, THJ, right? And you still have to see if Ivy's going to be a viable number 2 next to Cade Cunningham. But the Eastern Conference is wide open. And I'm not sure if you could go ahead with a Micah Nori. No offense to him. That's where some of my questions come into play. Now, let me get to Darcy. Hold up, Darcy. Give me 2 seconds to switch the screen over to you, bro. Just give me 2 seconds. I don't got no freaking... what's the name to help? Yep. Oh, Ace Bailey got picked by the Jazz. Wow. Uber talented player, bro. Uber talented player. The mindset, even though, I guess he's the first to be doing that, really, with this whole NIL. Or one of the first, let me say. But he's a talented dude, man. Let me see. Fine, we got it. Salute my brother Darcy, man. Salute. My bad, I had you muted. Apologies for that.
Oh, nah, you good, bro. I was muted. Shit.
What's good, bro? You chilling, man?
Yeah, man. Just finished getting a little workout in.
Yes, sir. That's good. Keep the help. Yeah, man. Yo, talk to me, bro. As the draft is going on, man, we got a lot of things to talk about. I'm waiting for my guy Nick. He says he's gonna be a little bit late, but talk about it, bro. Micah Nori, from what you've gathered, I know you've seen all the news. You probably have your own breakdown, watch some clips and whatever of him breaking down game. Man, your thoughts on him? Assistant coach of the Timberwolves, longtime assistant coach for years under Chris Finch. What are your overall thoughts about him? I'll get to James Borrego, who the Knicks have been said to have been interested in today.
Well, I think first and foremost, I think his name got dropped into the hat because of his relationship with Karl Anthony Towns. I think the pro there in potentially going with a hire like that is that you have somebody who's worked with Karl Anthony Towns and has been on a roster with some success with Karl Anthony Towns. And so I think I saw a video clip where he kind of broke down about how they use Cat in more of like a pick and pop situation, or giving him an outlet to be able to drop the pass to Rudy Gobert for a slam. And I see that being the same case with a guy like Mitchell Robinson. So if the Knicks look to keep their same starting five that they went with to close the playoffs with Mitchell Robinson at the 5, then I think you have a coach there who has some understanding of how to use that two big lineup. But all in all, to me, I don't really care who the hell it is, as long as they do the things that Tom Thibodeau doesn't do, which is play the bench, make great in-game adjustments. It's somebody who's willing to experiment and try different things, right? If you're going to be a guy who says net rating is the biggest teller, then your coaching decisions should reflect what the numbers say. And that's what I expect. And to me, just a coach, if all the Knicks fans are saying the same thing and the coach is the only one who doesn't get it, that's a problem to me. I want a coach with some common sense who, when he goes back and watches films, see the same thing that fans can see, and then takes the corrective action to make sure that those issues are addressed. Because as fans, we should see the team progress as time goes on, right? When they make this new hire for this coach, whether it's Micah Nori or anyone else, they may have a rough start, right? Adjusting to a new offense, adjusting to a new system outside of what Thibs has taught them. So they may be some learning curve within the first 1 or 2 months of the season. But at the end of the day, what I'm looking for going into next year is to see the progression of the team. I need to see some consistent growth. I need to see a consistent identity on both sides of the ball. And that's what I expect from whoever the Knicks hire moving forward.
So we broke down the film that you were talking about, because I saw the same video of him breaking down. You know who else ran the same play? That same exact play. Tom Thibodeau.
Nah, I don't.
Yes, it's a horn set. You set the screen and you pick and pop off of it.
Brother.
They ran the same horns play with the two bigs. Mitch rolls to the basket or comes and sets another screen for Cat. Even though they didn't do as much as Cat sent another screen for. Mitch set another screen for Cat. Mitch would typically roll to the basket if he was the guy that set the screen, whatever. But they ran that pick and pop with your man Cat and Brunson. My bad. Cat and Brunson off the horns play. Y'all dudes be so blinded for y'all hatred of Tibbs that y'all don't realize the dude was saying the same crap they've been running for Cat for years. But it's
so
cool.
Let's think about it.
Tibbs is going, it is what it is. It's the same damn shit. Y'all dudes the same.
Brother, the Knicks had a bottom offense from, I think, January to the end of the year. The Knicks were not a top offensive team. And to me, for you to have so many offensive pieces and the offense has to work so hard to produce, especially we saw many lapses where the Knicks will fumble a 20-point lead, that's unacceptable. First of all, I've never seen Tom Thibodeau deploy his own defense in the 5 years that he's. But still, that's not his game. It's not about. It's not about.
A lot of coaches don't deploy his own defenses.
You're talking about. Brother, you're talking about Tom Thibodeau like he's a player, saying that's not his game.
No. I'm just telling you. Every coach in the NBA, because I looked up, a lot of these coaches don't run. They might sprinkle it, but a lot of these coaches do not run zone.
Well, he doesn't try it. He doesn't try anything new. He doesn't pull anything out of his toolkit. If Jalen Brunson had not been the point guard for the New York Knicks over the past 3 years, Tom Thibodeau would have been out of a job.
If freaking SGA wasn't the freaking point guard of the Thunder, where the Thunder going?
Brother, that's a whole.
If SGA, no. If SGA is not the coach, SGA is not the point guard of the Thunder, where they going? If you could pick any star. If Cade Cunningham is not the point guard of the Pistons, they're a bottom feeder team.
brother.
If you take the best play away from most teams, they're not doing good.
No. You use the Thunder, a team who just won a championship, and also a team who
I'm taking their best play. You think that Thunder team would have done well? Do you see what Chet was doing without SGA? You think Jalen Williams was doing that without SGA?
Did the Knicks not lose to the same team back to back with more talent? The Knicks have more talent this year than they did last year.
What does that have to do with my point about if you
did not make any major changes to their roster? The Pacers, all they did was get Benedict Mathurin back, and all they did was add Thomas Bryant. Other than that, they didn't change their identity. They didn't add in a bunch of new pieces to where you couldn't figure out how they play or what they do. Tom Thibodeau still struggled with the same team that he was last year.
Do you understand that sometimes you coalescing as a team is an improvement in itself? Yes, it is. If I'm a player that just got traded to that team at Halliburton, right? I need some years to grow with this team. Me growing and building with this team is also a source of improvement. Putting a whole bunch of new players on one team is not necessarily this vast improvement. It's unnecessary. Okay, I know where your spots are now. I know my role is on this team. I play with you now for 1, 2, 3 years. I get your game. Oh, you're getting more confident in this spot, so let me get it to you at this spot. That is not about just putting a whole bunch of players together and saying, voila, make this work. So you playing for several years is a major can be a major source of improvement, probably better externally. I'm just saying, look, Tibbs is gone. It is what it is. I'm just saying,
and I'm glad he is.
Micah, go ahead.
I'm glad he is.
Hey, Nick, I just saw you, bro. Where did you go? Damn, I think Nick's connection a little bit messed up. He said, I'm glad. Of course you are. Of course you are. We got a championship aspiring team. You talking about developing this and doing that. You sure about that? And I know what the Knicks came out, according to New York Basketball, the Twitter Twitter page, said that the Knicks were looking for somebody to develop the young kids, use the bench, in-game adjustments, like you said, all those things. But when I look at a guy like Micah Nori, I'm just not sure. Everybody loves the assistant coach to become the head coach. As Trey Johnson gets picked from Texas, guard from Texas. Everybody likes assistant coach to pick. Now, do you know much about James Borrego? You've heard about the news about James Borrego being chosen.
Yeah.
How do you like his name, bro?
For me, bro, to be honest with you, I don't think I have a super strong opinion on any of the coaches, because the thing about it is, I think all of these coaches, even if they've been fired from other experiences, I leave some room to believe that a coach would learn from his mistakes and then be able to not only learn from it, but be able to apply it to his next opportunity. And so to me, all these guys kind of start with a clean slate. I'm just happy the coach is not Tom Thibodeau. James Borrego, if he can come in here and he can, to me, these coaches need to come to these interviews and they need to tell you what they would do differently with this roster that was not done last year. And I would want to see some examples of some plays or different things that they would run with the current construct of this roster.
Okay, let me ask you, what would you like? Not necessarily names of plays, but what would you like to see? And not just say off ball, but like, what is it that you like to see this team do with certain players? Let me get to
a modern motion offense. Ball movement, player movement. That's the biggest thing that I want emphasized on the team. I want ball movement and player movement. Nobody should be holding the ball for a multitude of seconds. There should be multiple actions, just like Indiana does. And you look at a guy like Rick Carlisle, and JB and Brunson said it themselves. The big thing about the Pacers offense is that, hey, when you do one thing to disrupt it, they have another action coming at you. So they have so many solutions prepared for what you do. And that's what I expect the Knicks coach to have. This offense, with the versatility you have Josh Hart, who likes to get to the paint and is effective at getting to the rim. You got Mikal Bridges with the mid-range. You got JB, who's a 3-level scorer. You got Karl Anthony Towns, who you can use as a weapon to play 5 out. Doesn't, not that good on the defensive end, but if you can maximize him offensively, then you make up for it. But with all these
different sure about that?
Yes. You have OG Anunoby.
So Cat's best year in the NBA, what did he go again? What was their record with the Wolves? When he was averaging 7-point-something threes a game? What was his record with the Wolves?
I don't know. To me,
I think he had 19 wins, my guy.
Huh?
I think they had 19 wins, if I remember.
I mean, that's not a reflection of him. I mean, the guys.
But we talk about maximizing a guy's offense as if it's going to save the Knicks. When I can sit up here and argue that I can sit up here and argue that Cat's defense was a much more of a detriment than his offense. Game 3, Game 4 in the third quarter, Game 5.
I think we would all agree with that. I think we would all agree with that.
So then maximizing Cat is not necessarily, I got to get more offensively. It's about you just got to be average on.
I'm not saying it's not just Cat, bro. The entire offense is my point. Okay. It's not just Cat. You started with Cat. I mentioned everyone. OG. We saw what OG could do in the stretch with JB wasn't there and the ball was moving more. You saw what the offense was different. These guys had to play to their different strengths, and the offense saw some success. And you saw an aggressive OG Anunoby. And most of the time, teams had to put 2 on the ball when OG had the ball in his hands because he's 6'8", 250. You need to maximize that when you have on the floor. And so, again, I just want a coach who's going to get the best out of every player that's on this roster. As long as the coach can do that, then I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the result because at least you know, hey, our coach is getting everything he can out of these players. There's no stone left unturned. There's not a bunch of players sitting on the bench that I don't have any idea what kind of production they can give. All right, we would not have seen anything from him had Jalen Brunson not gone down with those in those 15 games. And the thing about it, we still wouldn't have seen DeLon Wright. The only reason we saw him was because Deuce and Campaign were also injured simultaneously with Jalen Brunson. That's the only reason we saw DeLon Wright. So we have to really realize this was a guy who contributed. We saw what he did in the regular season. We knew what he could do in the playoffs. And this is a guy who would have never gotten the opportunity to showcase that had injuries not permitted. So this is what I'm saying. I'm not okay with a coach coming in and not maximizing the roster. I need to see damn near every guy touch that court. I don't care if it's for 2 minutes. I don't care if it's for 3 minutes. Get them on the floor.
If every guy is touching the floor, you're probably not winning a lot. If every player is touching the floor, you're probably not going to be winning a lot. I'll just
bro. Listen, there's teams.
I'll just put it
where you see, listen, bro. Guys don't have to play 20 minutes. I'm talking about give a guy 5 minutes. Give him 7 minutes. You don't have to do anything crazy. Give these guys a couple of minutes to do something. Tom Thibodeau will literally put guys in with a minute and 25 seconds left. Bro, that's disrespectful to me. I get up and I warm up. If I'm picturing myself being an NBA player. If I get up and put in the same work, just like the rest of these guys, and you give me garbage time scraps, that's a complete slap in my face to the same work that I put. And then I have to come in and smile and act like I'm happy. I got to watch these guys who get a chance to earn their contract and take care of their families. They get a chance to breathe easy. I got to worry about where my next contract is coming from, and I got to sit on the end of this bench and act like I'm happy being here.
Most of these guys in the NBA understand. If you're at the end of the bench, they understand their role. Like, all right, I'm here to just replace some guy if they get hurt, put in some spot minutes. Most of these guys understand why they end the bench. Most of your end of the bench guys aren't playing regardless. It ain't a Knicks thing. It's an NBA thing. It's the nature of the beast. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a Knicks thing per se. A lot of teams play tight rotations. I'm dead. Okay, go look at the majority of teams that are playing 12, 13 guys. They're probably at the bottom of their freaking conferences. You're not playing 12, 13 guys each and every night, or just to see, okay, where's
it's not about others.
I'm not talking about just playing. I'm not talking about the extreme of Tom Thibodeau playing such a tight rotation. But you're not going to be seeing a whole bunch of guys getting a lot of minutes because you need continuity and rhythm amongst rotations. That
just for a fact for you, because I knew you were going to pull this card and I had it ready for you. I had this in my notes ready for you.
Go ahead.
The Warriors have maintained a historic depth of 13 players averaging at least 11 plus minutes per game through at least the midway of the season. That's Steve Kerr's automatic philosophy. And he says the reason why he does it is because with so many guys working hard, he cannot justify only limiting it to just 10 players being in a rotation.
And look what that did him this year. It basically broke off a relationship with him and Kuminga.
That's a talent issue.
Okay.
That's a talent issue. That's not the point is the coach needs to know that. The coach has to give the front office visibility to know, hey, listen, you sign these guys, forget practice. Forget what we say we're seeing in practice. You get a chance to see them on the court and see what they can do, and maybe in limited minutes, but you get a sample size, you get a dose.
And you saw what happened this year with the Warriors. And what's happening previous years.
It's not about that.
Hold up. You don't even know what I'm saying. Steve Kerr for years has had issues and questions around his substitutions. Where it's like, why are you taking out this guy at this time? Many times I've watched for years. Kuminga, the guy. When Kuminga, I don't know if it's his first or maybe his second year. I can't remember when. I would watch those Warrior games. Kuminga would come in and be a defensive stopper against that other team's best wing guard attacker, whatever you want to call him. Kerr would take him out in the fourth quarter and lose by 3-4 points after that guy went off because after Kuminga was guarding well. One of the reasons why Kuminga, ask around the league, people are like, yo, man, the relationship with Kuminga and Steve Kerr don't really make sense. I don't know why Kuminga's not really being trusted by Kerr, blah, 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 blah. Right? I'm not saying Kuminga's totally blameless, but Kerr's had that for years, being weird with substitutions. Okay. Another coach who's been a candidate for the Knicks, hold on, and a coach actually like Taylor Jenkins. He's had issues, him and Nate LaRoche, where they would switch out guys every 3 minutes. And yeah, they play the young guys, blah, blah, blah. Led to continuity issues. They stopped that in the second half of the season when Kleiman was like, all right, stop that crap. And they made Tomas Lissola, whatever his name is, the head of the offense. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. So all this stuff about, you played a 13 guy. Yeah, it might happen with 1 or 2 guys, but the guy you mentioned, that team has had issues. And other teams have had issues. Again, guys who are doing that typically are going to be at the bottom of the conference for the most part. Unless you're doing it because guys are legitimately getting injured.
So we got Steve Kerr. We got Ime Udoka, who ran a 10-man rotation just this past season.
That's not a large rotation. 10 is not a large rotation. I have no problem with 10.
Huh?
That's not a large rotation. 10-man rotation.
That's not a large rotation.
It's just in front of 10-man rotation? I'm talking about anything more than what Tom Thibodeau does is good in my book. Anything more than what Tom Thibodeau has done 3 years.
Go ahead.
But Tibbs had a 10-man rotation for his first 3 years.
You said what?
Tibbs had a 10-man rotation for the first 3 years.
What 10-man rotation did you see Tom Thibodeau? What 10-man rotation?
You want me to bring it up?
Niggas already stressed.
You want me to bring it up?
Nick, please. Please, bro. Please. Okay. Show me.
All right.
Show me. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just have no recollection of Tom Thibodeau consistently running a 10-man rotation. But I'll continue on while you're looking that up. Ime Udoka, Kenny Atkinson ran 11-man rotation. Jason Kidd in 2021, the Mavericks were the 5th seed. The year after, 4th seed, he ran a 15-man rotation at the request of the front office. And that's what kind of coach you want. The front office said, hey, we need to take a look at all these guys, get them out there, even if it's in limited minutes. Ime Udoka actually ran a 12-man rotation, but only 10 guys averaged more than 10 minutes. So that means he still had 2 guys at the end of the bench that when guys were tired or there was some foul trouble or whatever, he was not scared to trust those guys and just give them something and say, hey, you know what? You guys work hard. Let me show you I trust you a little bit. Let me give you a glimmer of hope. Let me give you 5, 6, 7 minutes on that court. You suited up. You lotioned up. You did your stretching. You did your workout. Let me reward you with something in an 82-game season. It is so disrespectful to not give at least any of these guys at least 10 minutes in at least 10 games out of an 82-game season. You can't give the guys at your end of your bench. You run an 8-man rotation. That means you have 7 players plus two two-way players. You have 17 guys at your disposal. That means you have 9 players that you do not touch. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
Go ahead, Nick.
Stop it, man.
Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, Taj Gibson, Mitchell Robinson, Alec Burke, Alfred Payton, Derrick Rose. I mean, there's some swap in there because of a trade. Reggie Bullock, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel. They all got minutes.
It's not about all getting minutes. All those guys, we know with that year, we know everybody played. They played, and then first of all, tell me the entire roster. You named all the guys who I know automatically hearing their name. I know they played. I would have played them. Tell me the other guys at the end of the bench.
Who? Frank Ntilikina, Austin Rivers,
Frank Ntilikina. Austin Rivers was playing well, got taken out the rotation, got favored for Derrick Rose. We did him dirty. You heard his feedback, next.
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox was 12 to 14 points per game in his rookie year. Tom Thibodeau came here, didn't even bother really investing in dude like
He's
that.
trash! No. We're not.
Leave him alone.
If the New York Knicks
gonna defend him
got
on
Kevin
this.
Knox off the bench right now, if the New York Knicks got Kevin Knox off the bench right now,
Go ahead.
Knicks fans wouldn't complain. Knicks fans wouldn't complain with what we got right now. If we could get Kevin Knox on a veteran minimum with what he's doing currently constructed from what he just did in the Warriors, I would be very happy with Kevin Knox off the bench. Because it's more than we have right now.
Miles Powell was another one, and Theo Pinson.
This is bullshit. And it's a thinking. When I watch Theo Pinson's excuse my language, his freaking podcast, he sits up there and tries to trash Tibbs all the time. My guy, you were a shit player. Kevin Knox has bounced from team to team to team. He was on the Warriors. He's a shit player. I saw Cam Reddish in my neighborhood walking around here on Court Street a few weeks ago. I got the video. Not a good player.
Bro,
people make it
you
seem
don't
as
have
if,
to argue with them.
man, yo, bro,
You don't have to argue.
I'm
Why you
tired of
argue?
this.
You don't have to argue nothing.
Because people,
You don't
thank
have to
God,
argue.
Obi Toppin's the first player in a billion years to be in an important game and put up 7 points. And funny enough, if you look at most of the games he was productive in, he had a minus. The game he put up 17 points, minus 15.
What was his last game?
Halliburton's out the game. Your man put up 0 points.
0 rebounds.
Man, yo, look, Tibbs is going.
Okay.
Say whatever you want about Tibbs.
You watch
These guys were these young players. Y'all want to act like, oh, we should have given him a chance. Trash. Even Quentin Grimes. Georges Niang said it best. You're only doing this because Paul George and Embiid are not playing. You are not like that. Tibbs gave this guy a chance 2 years ago. He shot the bed. He gave it to Dante DiVincenzo, who had a career year and was the makeshift in a trade to get Cat. So that's value, right? Same value as say iHeart goes to OKC for that number.
Benched Derrick Rose. How do you have Derrick Rose on your bench and Derrick Rose can't get a couple minutes at the end of your rotation?
When was Derrick Rose benched? The second year where he got hurt?
Bro, Derrick Rose was on the Knicks and got benched, bro.
The first year, what are you talking? It was
Jimo, calm down. What happened to Derrick Rose immediately after? What happened immediately after?
Second season.
No, not the second season. That year with him and Fournier got benched. They both got benched, but he retired the year after.
No, but that's the second season that he was here with the Knicks.
Yeah,
he got hurt. After that, he got hurt.
But he did get benched, and we took off. We became a better team. We had a 10-game win streak. He got benched, and we got better. You can't just... He's just tossing out stuff, but not following up with the full story. We did get better, and we won more games. We went on a run.
So this is...
And Derrick Rose retired. You got to complete the story.
You painting it as if D Rose was super old and couldn't contribute or anything like that. And just because a guy...
Okay, dude, I'm just saying. I'm completing the story. You mentioned half of the story, but I'm telling you, he retired. And also, we got better.
Bro,
we got better.
You're telling me we didn't get better because he benched Derrick Rose. That's first and foremost. And you're telling me Derrick Rose is so trash that Derrick Rose is not good to give you 10 minutes off the bench on a New York Knicks?
I'm saying that Derrick Rose was diminishing returns at the end of the
game. Are you telling me Derrick Rose cannot give you 10 minutes? Even if he's not playing well.
Okay, the very next team he went to...
40 minutes, bro. We'll play Josh
The very next team...
Let me just say this. Tom Thibodeau would play Josh Hart 40 minutes when Josh is not shooting well. Josh is not rebounding the ball. He might have 4 to 6 rebounds instead of his 8 to 12 that we know he can get. He might have a couple turnovers and a couple assists, but Thibs will not for a second go and bench Josh Hart. But Derrick Rose, who was orchestrating the offense, who could find Obi Toppin in the offense, who you had coming off the bench, who you know Obi likes to get out and run and play in transition. The guy that was looking for him the most was Derrick Rose, and you weren't playing it. That bench unit, you could have played Derrick Rose with him. He was the perfect vet to get them going. You benched him. We had a season where we didn't make the playoffs and Tom Thibodeau didn't play the bench. He wasn't playing Grimes. He wasn't playing any of the young guys. How did we go from making the playoffs that year to not making it the following year? The only reason he got saved was Jalen came in.
He didn't play the young guys, you said?
No, he didn't play the young guys that year. We didn't make the playoffs. He wasn't playing Grimes in them. He started playing them the following year once JB
He played them at the second half of the season. It was too late by that point.
It was
and
too
that
late
was the Kimber year.
Right,
that was
right.
the Kimber year. That was the Kimber year.
But the same.
And we were going to trade for Jalen Brunson at the
starting
deadline.
players and not playing them. Is it major?
No, hold on. Let him finish because he's got a lot to say. Go ahead.
Right, go ahead. My bad, Darcy.
What?
You got a lot to say. Go ahead. You done?
That's what I had to say. Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, salute to Nick.
But,
I appreciate you coming through, Nick. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. He's also forgetting that there is actual scientific fact that has been researched. That has been researched. There are certain players that when you increase their minutes, they get hurt. Derrick Rose on a 10-minute threshold with Memphis got hurt. That was his next team that he went on to.
Hey, I'd rather Derrick Rose be out there contributing than sitting on the bench if he's a scrub. The Knicks were not a championship.
I'll wait till you're done. Go ahead. I'll wait till you're done.
Hey, this is my thing. If Derrick Rose was sitting on the end of the bench for this roster, maybe I'm okay with it. But really, still not really, because you have Campaign as your backup point guard. So you're telling me Derrick Rose can't give you the equivalent of what Campaign can give you or more? So if Derrick Rose was sitting at the end of the bench for this roster we had this season, okay, maybe. But even then, I would still feel like he could get at least 8 to 10 minutes on the court. But for that roster, for you to bench Derrick Rose, we were not that good. Tom Thibodeau is such a stringent coach in that he can only group a certain type of caliber of players together to make the offense work. And everybody else that doesn't fit his scheme or is not traditional to what he's used to, he doesn't know what to do with them. And in his mind, let me bench you and go with this 8 group of guys who I know I can make it work. A great coach is going to say, no, I can use 3 more guys on top of my 8 to give my 8 guys more rest and to also add more versatility to my offense.
But what coach isn't like that? What coach isn't like that?
What?
What coach is not like that?
What coach isn't like that? Is that
what coach plays?
Huh?
Yeah, like indulge me.
Tom Thibodeau was like
Stat Storm.
No. You said a good coach, great coach, whatever, will maximize each and every player, adapt to the players and the scene and the scenario. And Tom Thibodeau is stringent. He only plays a certain type of player for his system, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to repeat it. What coach is not like that plays players that don't fit their system?
The coach that just won a championship? Rick Carlisle? Kenny
Atkinson?
Wait. You said Rick Carlisle. Remember, Rondo did not fit Rick Carlisle's system. Jalen Brunson was off the bench. He could have started.
You said Rondo,
he was
right?
a bench player.
Dennis,
he was underutilized.
Dennis Smith Jr.
I said Rondo and also Brunson.
So let's think about
there are many other players that Rick Carlisle did not fit with.
Dennis Smith Jr.
No, there's a difference.
Dennis Smith.
Sabonis.
This is my thing. Rick Carlisle may not have you as his core rotation player, but he will use you situationally. Just like when Thomas
James
Bryant
Johnson, right?
Huh?
Yeah, James Johnson.
Think about it.
James Johnson got 10 minutes a game, right?
When Thomas Bryant wasn't playing well, what did Rick Carlisle do? When Thomas Bryant was getting dominated by Mitchell Robinson, he didn't say, I'm going to stick with Thomas Bryant, even though this is not working. He put in Brandon. Because he
had no choice because his bigs were in foul trouble.
No.
Yes! That was abusing Turner. Turner would have 3 fouls in the first half. They had to use somebody else.
He benched Thomas Bryant He benched Thomas Bryant to where Thomas
Thomas Bryant
Bryant
was
wasn't
always
in the
benched.
game. What are you
Yeah,
talking
Thomas Bryant was always
about?
benched. He was not
No, he
like a main
oh my
rotation guy.
God.
He
No, he's
wasn't a
not.
main rotation
All right,
guy,
hold on. I'm about to prove this right now because I know for a fact.
but
I know this for a
he was
fact.
always off the bench.
Thomas
Oh,
Bryant was not benched. Thomas Bryant got benched in our series. Hold on, I'm about to pull it up right
yeah.
now.
All right, okay.
Oh my! If you find the number of
James
minutes,
Johnson was the main guy, but Thomas Bryant got spot minutes every once in a while.
Thomas Bryant was the main guy, and then he got benched because Mitch was eating him up.
Okay.
One game he didn't even play. He started off getting 13 minutes, then he dropped down
Okay.
to 4. Then he went from 13 minutes to 4 minutes to DNP to 5 minutes, and then 13 minutes in that game when we got eliminated. So
And can we move on from this topic because we're not going there?
Rick Carlisle made adjustments and said, "Hey, this guy isn't playing well. Let me go with someone else." Tom Thibodeau is rarely going to do that.
okay.
Really?
Fair
Okay.
enough.
I don't want to get fixated on Thibs. He's out of here. I'm glad he's gone. On to the next coach, and I'm happy about it.
All right, let me ask Nick this question. Nick, really important time right now in the Eastern Conference as some teams are starting to disband. You call it retooling, but honestly, some teams are breaking apart. Obviously, the Celtics is a major one. But want to get your first overall thoughts on Coach Micah Nori, possibly because I know you really you could find some real in depth knowledge and connections between Nuri and maybe the front office. So just want to get your color on Mike Nuri. Also want you to talk about James Borrego because that's a guy that we talked about before in the past. Obviously, you live in Charlotte and you know, but we've talked a lot about James Borrego, especially when it came to my son, aka the draft bus, Boak Night. But you know, he's a guy he's also benched LaMelo Ball at times too. So he's a I don't know if you call it disciplinarian, but he takes a hard stance. As well, and then also we could get to Darcy. I'll include you on this one. Jason Kidd, who, from all it seems as if he does want the Knicks, and he wants to he may possibly try to find a way to force himself out of that situation. So if we can start with Micah Nori first, and then we could go on from there.
I really don't know enough about Nori to really like make good comments on. I started to do some research on him today, but I'm struggling to find my notes now. But he seems like he might be okay. I think he's a good mix of offense and defense. Being attached to Chris Finch, defensive coach, he might be able to actually lead the offense and the defense and bring some of that tool in. One of the things that Micah Nori is kind of noted for is being attached to Cat. He really connected with Cat. Jason Kidd is probably my second favorite coach so far that they want to get. I really like some of the things that Kidd has done, but again, to Kidd. So let's start off with this. Jason Kidd has no assistants in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't re-sign him after getting to the finals. He's also working on an extension. They traded his best player without his knowledge.
Yep.
They did a lot of dirty stuff behind his back and he had no input on. I really think that I think Jason Kidd, his last two stops, he tried to get out both contracts without being traded, if I'm not mistaken. He wiggled his way out of Brooklyn and wiggled his way out. Well, he got fired out of Milwaukee. I think he's very much connected to Jalen Brunson. I think that's a Jalen Brunson kind of hire, make him happy. Micah is gonna be make Cat happy, and the downfall to Jason Kidd, or even going after Jason Kidd, is Orlando picked up most of those assistants. So if you get Jason Kidd, you might be rebuilding the whole assistant coach tree. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like when Tibbs came here. I know this is a trigger point for some people, for some reason, but every time, everything about this front office, they like to have continuity. They like to have coaches to have their staff. They like to empower the coach. And if you're gonna empower Jason Kidd, he needs his assistants. So then these guys just went to Orlando. I don't think so. That kind of rules out Jason Kidd for me. Someone, if you look back at the 2020 coaching search, it was like Tibbs' job to lose. Every time they interviewed somebody, they wanted somebody to be better than Tibbs, and I don't think anyone impressed them enough. So, and for me, I've been saying this for the past 6 years. Whatever coach you hire, they need to lay the foundation, and then the next coach after that needs to be the Steve Kerr to Mark Jackson. You gotta like elevate past Tibbs.
So this is gonna be a two-coach approach.
No.
Oh,
Tibbs was the first coach.
Oh, Bill Fontaine. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
So
Gotcha.
this is your second coach.
I agree.
So like getting the Steve Kerr part correct is important.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Johnny Bryant is the guy they want, and then they're gonna build around Johnny Bryant.
Right.
I feel like Johnny Bryant has the most connections, and you could probably keep most of the coaching staff intact because of Johnny Bryant.
Yeah, my thing was that because I think that there's a rule in terms of hiring guys while the season's still going on and teams still playing, and I think that I originally just thought that a lot of this was just smokescreen, so they can make it seem that they went through the gamut of because remember and it came out recently. Oh, the Knicks have not shown this to Johnny Bryant. I'm like, come on, dogs. I felt like they sent them away to go and hone his skills under whichever coach Atkinson in Cleveland, and then come back to this job. Like you said, and you made some. I forgot the assistant. I saw it on Twitter where the one of Jason Kidd's assistants left Dallas. I didn't know he went to the Mavericks. I'm forgetting. I just saw the
Shamgod.
not God Shamgod. It was somebody else, but not God Sham. And they mentioned three, but I'm forgetting. It was someone recently. So that's a good point. It's like, look, I don't know what they want to do. Maybe they're trying to get a team to give them a first round pick to trade for Jason Kidd. But I just don't think Knicks going to play in that. But I do think that Jason Kidd is interested in the Knicks. He does have a relationship with Brunson. And then if he'd be the one to kind of maximize Cat and Brunson. Look what he did, last year or 2 years ago with making it work between Kyrie and Luka, at least offensively, which I even thought was going to be tough to do just because of two ball dominant guards. He'd probably be a guy for the Knicks. Johnny Bryant, I mean, look, I think, like you said, they groomed a lot of the situation around him. So it's like, all right, you don't have to go by it by yourself. We'll get you the assistant. We'll have the ecosystem of assistant coaches. We'll have that line of communication. You're basically our, I don't know what you call him, our child. I don't know, our whatever you want to call it. So I do think at the end it's Johnny Bryant, but they're gonna keep searching around. How'd you feel? And Borrego, because I want you to give your color on Borrego, because man, we talked about Borrego for a while. I know you had your issues with Borrego. I don't know if you actually liked Borrego when he was with the Charlotte Hornets.
No, he was fine, but the problem with Borrego is he's a feisty coach.
Right.
Like he'll come in and kick some ish up, whether or not guys need to be yelled at or screamed at, just like Ime Udoka. Like Ime Udoka, he likes to get in people's faces as well as wives' drawers and stuff. So, like the big thing for me is it's just about the assistants. Even if Borrego is the guy, or if what I'm looking at is some of the guys they're interviewing I'm questioning if they're trying to interview other people for the assistant job. Taylor Jenkins should have his whole staff, because remember his staff was let go. They should be free agents. I didn't get to that point in my research, but by and large, like Taylor Jenkins is a decent coach. He is very Tibbs-like. Player development, I question player development with Taylor Jenkins, but it's a thing. I mean, I don't know who developed underneath him. necessarily. That wasn't like a chosen player to be good, you know.
Right.
Um, so you gotta I gotta do more research on that. I don't see any player development under Taylor Jenkins like that. But he's a creative offensive coach.
Would you say? Well, the thing with it's weird, man. There was a Game of Thrones type situation with the front between him and Kleiman. Like they
Yeah, but that's this year though. That's this year. I'm saying okay,
right.
just player development because like a lot of
Well, would you
fans
say
and I think
Gigi Jackson? Because people, I thought offensively Gigi Jackson.
but
Because
Gigi Jackson didn't get any minutes this year.
that's true.
None. But as good as soon as Triple J came back, no minutes.
Jalen Wells,
Okay.
he had a solid season. Runner was he runner up
Okay.
or
Jay Sean Tate, I think Jay Sean Tate was one of them. There's some guys that played underneath him,
mm-hmm.
but I just question the development standpoint because a lot of we're gonna need some development. That I'm not denying that. Um, but I really question how much he could actually uplift some guys.
right? And I think also too, if you don't have that assistant, Lasolo, who's now the coach or is going to be the coach,
Yeah.
because remember it was a tug of war. He wanted to run a pick and roll with
Mm-hmm.
John Morant and Triple J, and
Triple
then
J. E. Yeah.
it was like this is not working per se. They switched over to more of a motion offense. Then they tried to switch
Mm-hmm.
back to more of the pick and roll. Like it was just a tug of war
And
between.
then switch back to pick and roll, but in the
Yeah,
end,
that's so.
it was
I
dumb.
mean, I don't know if he's picking up certain things, but obviously we do need some more off-ball movement. But it's like, look, man, most teams, if you have two dynamic players in your eyes, you're gonna try to maximize what you can from your two best players. So I get it. Does he advance past that? You had the same reservations with a guy like Atkinson, who's a heavy pick and roll guy with the Nets, but then you saw it this season. Take out the playoffs, but you saw it this season that they institute a lot of off-ball movement, some motion concepts with the Cavaliers. So look, man, I guess I prefer more experience than not wise coaches if you have championship aspirations. Like I just think it's too much
Yeah,
to gamble
and
with.
that's what most fans have. Like they have championship aspirations. I have on here if one of the strategic things that Nori was very big on was moving Cat to the 4. So that might mean okay, we're keeping Mitch, we might extend Mitch and play Cat at the 4 instead of the 5.
And what did Gafford just get paid? 36 for 3? No,
Yeah, 36 with
36 for 3.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's 12. Mitchell Robinson should be getting what 15 per? Same thing.
I think he's hang on.
Go ahead,
I
Darcy.
just look at
Yeah, Darcy. What you think Mitchell Robinson should be getting paid? Why'd you say some ridiculous number?
I think 20 to
20
I
mil.
mean,
Wow.
I would give him a 3-year, 60 million, 60 to 65 million deal. That's in line with Daniel Gafford got. So I think that's very reasonable.
He's missed so much time, man.
Bro, I don't care about. Listen, one, the Knicks have the best medical staff right now, so obviously they were able to keep him healthy since he returned in March.
And when was he originally supposed to return?
I don't care about when he was originally supposed to return.
Of course you don't.
I mean, I don't, because I don't want him to rush back. Like, yo, bro, get healthy, do everything you need to do, and be ready to return on the court.
My point is that if you don't play, sometimes your leverage in these negotiations are weaker, right? And he also go ahead.
But you can't leave the story. You can't leave this. Go ahead.
Yeah. What were you saying?
You can't leave the story incomplete. You gotta complete the whole thing. That year, Cat is gonna make 57 mil. OG is gonna be 42, and Brunson's gonna be 37 mil. Josh Hart 20. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. So we're gonna have like 20, about 33 mil remaining in cap space.
Oh, 27? Tomo?
Actually, no. I take that back. You're looking at 53 mil in cap space that year. Mikal needs to get paid that year too. Are you trading somebody so you can deepen the bench, or like how are you gonna finagle that last 50 mil?
Who?
I'm saying 2026 because you want to say pay Mitch. If you pay Mitch 20,
Mitch
that means you got 30 mil.
Nothing. One, you have his rights. Yeah, I'm easily re-signing Mitch. His impact on this team.
Are you re-signing Mikal?
Huh?
Are you re-signing Mikal at what price?
No, I'm not, bro. To be honest with you, if you want to know what I'm doing with Mikal, to be honest with you, I would have been trying to trade Mikal for either one of two people, which would have been Desmond Bain, who got moved to Orlando, so that's not happening. And the only other person that I have a high level of interest in is Dyson Daniels. And unless the Knicks could finesse that, because Atlanta has that $23 million trade exception, which Mikal Bridges fits into perfectly, so they don't have to match salaries to send somebody back. But I don't think Atlanta will want to give him up. But they are looking to use that exception, which they have to use before July 7th. But Mikal Bridges easily fits into that, whether it's a three-way trade or whatever. Mikal Bridges, Kristaps Porzingis, and Trae Young is not a bad thing to put together, especially when you think about how many games Kristaps is going to miss. Mikal Bridges doesn't miss a game, so at least you got that second fiddle, and he gets more usage. His usage was down this year with the Knicks. Gets more usage on a team like Atlanta, and the Knicks get a little bit more. I guess. Yeah, I mean, you don't have much counting against your cap. But again, I think even then, like I said, I'm not opposed to extending Mikal Bridges. The thing is, I'm just not giving him a max contract. His point of attack defense is not good enough as currently constructed with this team. And I will leave an asterisk by that because maybe a full season with Mitchell Robinson at the 5 can help him. But to me, to be honest with you, I cannot get over that triple-double he let Halliburton put up in that, game 5? That triple-double, for Halliburton to put up something like that on you, I'm sorry. I haven't seen a Knicks player let somebody do that to them in a long time. You got to be really special to be doing that, and Halliburton, to me, is just not that special to be putting up them kind of numbers on. I'm sorry. Like, his point of attack defense and then his three-point shooting is way too streaky. For us to have a knockdown shooter in Dante DiVincenzo last year, we got accustomed to seeing that three ball go in. And Mikal Bridges just on so many momentum plays could not knock down that three. And then his mid-range, it's like, bro, you had Nembhard and Nesmith. These guys are, dude, you got a 7-foot wingspan. Get to the rim and get over these guys. Why are you turning around for a fadeaway mid-range? And you're bricking them. I'm sorry, 50% from the field, from the field during the regular season over an 82-game span that you played in every single game, 50% is good for me. In the playoffs, however, that 50% for my book, if you're shooting mid-ranges, that percentage
that's actually really good. That's actually pretty damn good. 50%.
No, you're saying 50 is good.
I'm not. I'm saying I'm going by league averages. I look at these numbers. 50% from the mid-range is good.
Bro, how many people are still currently predominantly majority of their shots are mid-ranges?
The best players all take mid-range shots.
No, but Mikal
the best players in the league take hold on.
Mikal Bridges.
Let's stop this bullshit. Let's stop this bullshit. If I'm Mikal Bridges, this is how it works. This is how it works. Mikal Bridges is not a strong player. He's not explosive. So when he goes to the rim, he's getting pushed off his dribble. I would prefer him to take easier mid-range shots. If he's right at the basket. No, I'm not talking about that shot where he had it right underneath the basket and Naismith was there and he didn't.
That alone is inexcusable.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about trying to go 1v1. He's not a high-level ISO player. He needs a screen. If the mid-range shot is much more of a viable option, I take the close mid-range shot. Versus you trying to attack the basket and getting blocked or pushed off your square because you're not strong.
Guess what?
Darcy, I want to ask you one question. One real quick question. Do you think a coach could better use Mikal?
Absolutely. 1,000%. That's why I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm not saying trade him. I'm not saying that I'm.
You just said to trade him. You just said you
No, listen.
You did just say that, but okay.
Listen.
You did. Hey, you did. You
Listen
did.
to what I'm saying. Bro, we've already talked about this before. So my thing is, why are you acting like I'm saying anything different? I've already told you I'm okay with keeping him here. We gave up the assets for him. He's already here. I'm okay with seeing if another coach can maximize him and do something different with him. But I'm saying at the end of the day, I don't want to max him out. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to give him that 4-year 150. I'm more so okay 130 to 140. That's okay. That's kind of my max. But
Okay.
that's about that for him. Because again, here's the thing. Here's the problem with the Knicks right now. If you had Mikal Bridges at the 3 and you had somebody that you could play at the 2 as your primary point of attack defender, and Karl Anthony Towns was good enough to be your 5 on both ends of the floor, then I wouldn't be having this conversation. But because Karl Anthony Towns is not that good defensively and you need him at the 4 and you need Mitchell Robinson at the 5, Mikal Bridges is your primary point of attack defender. And when I look at what he did throughout the season, he avoids physicality. And he just doesn't have that certain level of grittiness and toughness to where a player is like, yo, I'm a little scared to come at you. Like, there's no feistiness to his game. Like, and again, that's him. He's been that way. I'm not knocking him. It's him, but and I'm willing to give it more time, right? But I didn't feel that synergy that we saw between JB and Dante in that 1-2 combination. I miss that so much. I just miss it so much. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not fair to put it on Mikal, so I'm not putting it on him. But the reality is if you can get a player who can give you at least 39% from 3, is one not going to always settle for a mid-range. But to be honest, I'd rather Mikal shoot 3s than a mid-range. I'd rather him be bricking 3s than be bricking.
He was worse from 3 than mid-range this year.
If he's curling off of a screen, he should take 5 steps back to make sure he's at the 3-point line and shoot it there. The guys had enough 3-point opportunities. He just was missing them. Like, what are we doing here? They ran the plays.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Of the players on the team right now, who would be your bench?
What do you mean? What do you mean on the
who would be a bench? Like, of the players that are presently on the team, who would you keep on the bench? Like, play off the bench?
You mean including, like, re-signing the ones who are going to be free agents? Assuming we brought everyone back? Or you saying, like, you want me to pick players on a veteran minimum, too?
Sure. All of the above. Just who do you want to come off your bench?
Well, like, Josh Hart is definitely coming off my bench.
Okay.
I'm not starting Josh Hart. Now, some players that I'm looking at, didn't we bring in Chris Duarte in the G League? Was it him? I think we did. We did. Right? To me, Chris Duarte is somebody I'm taking a look at. You know, he had a random fall off, but he was a really good prospect to start. So that's somebody that I'm looking at for maybe like a vet's minimum deal. And what's his other name? Johnny Davis? Didn't we have Johnny Davis in the G League too?
He's trash. Johnny Davis can't shoot. He can't score. He's trash, bro. This guy was a. You know, I'm not even gonna go into because he's trash. Duarte not good.
I'm looking at Bobo. He made $2 million last year. I think you can get him.
You said Bobo?
Gosh, bro. Do you understand the story behind Bobo? How lazy he is, how unmotivated he is, how he doesn't want to work hard.
I don't know about all of that, bro.
It's been his career. Shaq said it. It's been his career. It's the reason why he bounces. He has a flash, and people are like, oh my gosh, Bobo could be this. And everybody, Gil's Arena, as dumb as Gilbert can be, he's like, yo, bro, the word around, or was it Gil who said it? One of the people on this damn show said it because they're arguing back and forth. It was like, yeah, he's talented, but he doesn't put in the work. He's lazy, and he'll give you 5, 7, 8 brilliant games. You're like, what? This guy's just as good as Anthony Davis, some people will say, or could be just as dominant. Doesn't want to put in the work. That's been his issue since college.
Yeah, well, yeah. I I'm going with Gershon Yabusele too. That's a good option as well. Low cost.
That's not
right
bad. I like
across the
Gershon.
bridge over in Phoenix, and you can get him for a vest minimum. So I'd go after him, give him the opportunity to.
Wait, Gershon was with the Sixers, wasn't he?
Who?
Am I bugging out? Who's the guy with the Sixers?
Yeah, Sally?
He's with the
I think
Sixers.
so.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, he's with the Sixers. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking obviously we probably won't be able to get Schroeder, so I had him on my list. I thought he would have definitely been a nice piece, especially after what he did in the playoffs against us. Really good play off the bench, so if you could have found a way to finesse that would have been nice. Eric Gordon, I think Eric Gordon would be a nice offensive piece off the bench, can create for himself, can create for others. Decent three-point shooter. I would consider bringing back Alec Burks. He didn't really gel well with the Heat. I take a look at Seth Curry. And then I also would have took a look at Bojan Bogdanovic for the vet minimum as well, because he's going to be a free agent, but I don't know what his injury situation is. But I would definitely bring back Bojan on the vet minimum.
Okay.
All right. A bunch of retreads. If you talk about getting depth and then those guys get hurt, then who are we gonna have? I mean, if you're gonna trade a guy like Mikal, I'd be looking at, if you're gonna try to do that, I would look at a team like, say, the Rockets and ask what they want. Now, obviously, they have KD, so it'll probably be redundant at this point. But you want some depth. You want some guys, at least two guys, that I could bring over, Tyree Eason and freaking Cam Whitmore, which they probably wouldn't do, but I would be trying to ask around the league for those types. Or I'll go to the freaking Spurs who have a bunch of guards, guys like Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. I'd be asking, what do you want for Devin Vassell? I'd be asking those guys, what would you like? And we'll, if you're going to trade Mikal, that's the approach I'm taking. If I'm trying to go and bolster my bench, I don't want these old guys anymore. Alec Burks probably needs to retire. Bojan probably needs to retire. Some of these guys are done. We run into these situations where these guys come to the Knicks, they play, and then they get hurt, and it's like, oh crap, now I'm back at square one. And I know Tibbs not here anymore, but then he'll get blamed for, oh, you didn't use the bench. It's like, well, I used the bench and they're too old. I used the bench and they're ineffective. I used the bench and they can't hit three.
Don't be surprised if some trade rumors or a trade happens between the Knicks and Sacramento, given that Scott Perry is the GM over there now.
I can see that. Yeah. I
that's
like
right?
I like
Malik. So I look at a guy like Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray would definitely be a good piece. Young guy.
Malik Monk. Get Malik Monk.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I would go after Malik Monk and Keegan Murray. If you could, if you could get both of them for Mikal, that would probably not. I don't think Scott Perry would let us fleece him like that.
He has to go to a contender, because I think that, like, what you can't build around Mikal, right? He's not a. Oh damn, my camera went off. Y'all keep talking. I'll replace it. But Mikal is not a build around guy. He's a guy that you add as a piece, right? So you're talking about contenders. I would do it for Sacramento, but then it would also allow Sacramento. I don't know what Malik Monk's contract is, but he got paid in Sacramento, right? Or did he get paid with he got paid with Sacramento.
I looked at his number. It wasn't much. Or I don't think Malik Monk.
Because he got like a 3-year deal, right? Was it 3 years?
I think it was 3 years.
So he makes 19.5.
Oh, that's basically Mikal then.
See, but yeah, for next year, I mean, he's on a descending contract too. So he's making 18.7.
When is his contract end?
It was a 4-year deal, and
it's 4 years.
Yeah, he signed a 4-year, $77 million deal. So I think he has 2 more years left.
2 more years. So allow Sacramento to get out of money if we trade Mikal Bridges. Right, but that's the thinking. We need a legitimate. You could use a legitimate wing, and you need at the very worst a combo guard, right? I like Tyus Jones, and Tyus Jones could use a prove it deal with the Knicks, and especially if you get Jenkins, right? Jenkins, I thought Tyus probably had his best numbers under Jenkins that 1 year where he replaced John Morant, who was hurt for I don't know how many semi games. You need that. You need a legitimate wing. I don't know about a player who I would like to bring. I don't think he's making a lot of money. I like Najee Marshall, bro. Najee Marshall's a player I like. I like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a free agent. But
you're not getting him though. He's gonna get paid at least.
He's gonna get paid
10 to 12. Not more.
Can I ask this question? Why not play Kolek off the bench then?
Play who?
Kolek off the bench, like your.
Oh, Tyler Kolek. I like Tyler Kolek, but shoot, sorry. Let me just fix my camera. Which one? I like Tyler Kolek. He needs to get stronger. Yeah, he just has to get stronger, and he has to also look for a shot. Is he ready up to get up to the point of like a TJ McConnell? Obviously not, but to give me some. Yeah, I like him. I like him, but again, you have championship aspirations. How much you trust in a Tyler Cole to come in and be your number 2 guy? Facilitate off the bench.
Nah, I gotta go with a guy like dude from Phoenix.
Tyus Jones.
Especially if we hire Jenkins, that's a no-brainer.
Yep.
If you can get him for the vest minimum again, you definitely go ahead and grab him. I like Amir Coffey too. You can probably get him for the vet minimum. But like I said, man, you just need one. How about Seth Curry? I would definitely be talking to Seth Curry. Because you need short.
That's you need to use your vet minimum on something. This vet minimum is going to be the most important vet.
It's going to be important
in the league, bro. That's crazy.
Well, let me give you all my take on this. The starting 5 will be JB, McBride, Mikal, OG, and Cat. That's your most effective lineup that we had last year. The shooting all around, defense all around, except on Brunson and Cat. I'll back that up with Kolek is a question mark, but I'll put Josh Hart. I'll actually go after Bruce Brown if I could get him. I don't know if he'll be a free agent like that. I'll go after someone, and I'm just shooting out names. I want wings that could also play the power forward position. So like Nicholas Batum. I mean, DJ Boston needs to put on more size, pause. But along that line of Nicholas Batum.
So
go ahead.
I just wanted to comment on something you said. So I don't know if you were speaking just for the regular season, but I just feel like even if you were speaking for the regular season, I mean, Mitch didn't come back to March. So I feel like you have to be speaking playoffs then. If we're going by playoffs, the most effective lineup was Jalen Brunson, Miles McBride, Mikal Bridges, OG, and Mitchell Robinson. And that was a plus 34.3 net rating.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying any lineup with McBride in it has been some of the best lineups. And then when Mitch started to get more and more healthy, Mitch started to affect and swing games the same way. But I'm always concerned with keeping Mitch healthy. That's the only reason why I'm not starting Mitch. I'm still, in this scenario, I'm keeping Mitch too.
Well, I think the Knicks have more spacing on the floor, so teams really can't afford to put 3 guys on Mitchell Robinson. I've said it time and time again. You have 3 guys, and he's not as reckless. Mitch is not as reckless. He's not overly obsessive with trying to get the ball as he was before, to where he was risking injuries. I think he goes for the ball if it's near him. If it's not, he's okay. You'll get another possession. I don't think he was taking that approach before.
I could agree with that, but I'm still like trying to prioritize his health. That's my big thing. I'm playing Huckaporty. I actually felt like Huckaporty under Thibodeau was getting minutes, and he was poised to seriously take Precious Achiuwa's spot until his injury. I really felt like his injury set him back big time. I'll go after Malcolm Brogdon too. Off the bench, I would love him off the bench. That's a good veteran guard. There's enough ball handling around him to keep him healthy. If you could swing something to get Bruce Brown and Malcolm Brogdon off that bench, dude, I'll say we'll make the finals.
Brogdon just bugs me out.
Nah, Brogdon
sucks.
Freaky shooting. I'm good. I don't want anybody that can't shoot. The Knicks need to stay away from anybody that's not shooting at least 37% from 3. You look at the
That's a very hard swing to get. The only reason why
it's not hard. I'm not. I'm not
Dude,
signing. I'm not signing
you know,
Russell Westbrook.
70% of this league don't shoot that, right?
I'm, brother, the average
70%
is
of the
what,
league don't.
36%?
70% of the league don't shoot like
I
above
think league
average.
average is 36%. As long as you're shooting at least slightly above average, and again, I'm saying on your bench, if you already have Josh Hart, who's hesitant to shoot the three, and if he is shooting, may not make it, you can't have another guy on the floor like that. You can't put another guy on the court that teams can sag off of. They're already doing it to Josh Hart. That's going to affect your spacing too much. You have to have shooting on the floor. Josh Hart should be the only player remaining on this team outside of a big that cannot shoot the ball. And that big specifically being Mitchell Robinson. Josh Hart and Mitch are the only two people I'm okay with not being able to shoot the ball at a high clip because of the impact on rebounding and playmaking for Josh Hart specifically. Other than that, everybody else needs to shoot. I'm not signing any point guards that can't shoot. Stay away from Westbrook. Stay away from Malcolm Brogdon. Everybody needs to be able to shoot.
Yeah, Westbrook is not what I'd go after, man. Even with his chemistry with what's the name, Jokic, he was still his efficiencies were just ass. I still remember the game. Remember the game missed a wide open layup, and they lost it late. Like, he just explosive as ever. He'll probably never lose that because it doesn't make sense. He's been in the league for 16, 17 years now. He's still explosive as a mother effer. And he's just I don't know. Westbrook. Oh. He's just not efficient enough. You can't and without Jokic, I don't need Westbrook to try to be a decision maker on the ball, even come off the bench. Like, it just not of that. But I want to move on to the draft before we got out of here. Have you guys been following any deep second rounders in the draft at all? Anybody?
Yeah. Okay. Kobe. I like Kobe a lot.
Which Kobe you like? I like Kobe Bryant and Sanders. I like both the Kobes.
No, I only looked at Bryant. I really like. I like his balls. I like his size. I like Watkins too. I think we need to get bigger as a team, and we need to focus on players who, again, don't sign any players that cannot contribute on both ends of the floor. You already have Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns as your below average, the average defenders. Everyone else on this roster needs to be good.
I just hope you know Kobe Bryant is not a good defender, and this guy's had 2 metal rods put in both his legs. He look, Kobe Bryant. One thing about Kobe Bryant. He transferred to, I forget where he transferred from. Sniper. He ball fake. He could do all that. DHOs. Sniper. Pure sniper through and through. He reminds me of, not in the sense of like the same physical profile, but if you allow him to be open, they're going to make it like Ben Shepherd. Anytime Ben Shepherd's been open, especially against the Knicks, he'll make the 3. Right? He's just one of those natural. But everything else about your man, he's had issues of finishing at the basket. He's not really that good of a defender. His athleticism is lacking. But he's a specialist. But he's something of an old He's not going to give you 2-way value automatically. So whoever comes here or as a coach, they got to coach him up to be a better defender. He's going to be at best, I think, assistant player, which is fine. And again, at 50, like what do we? You're not going to get a superstar or a star. It's you try to just get value. I like Kobe Bryant. I like Kobe Sanders as well too. I like him a little bit off the dribble, even though he's not going to be having the ball in his hands like that to start in the game, start in his career. I like Jameer Watkins from FSU, who I think the Knicks have said they're interested in. They might select at 50 coming from FSU. His numbers aren't the greatest, shooting 42% from the field, 33% from 3. But nothing about his game screams that he can't improve, right? His shot is not broken whatsoever. He attacks closeouts. He could pass well. He could operate well in fast breaks. He does have to become a better finisher. He's not the most creative, even though it's weird. He's not the craziest explosive when he's like at the rim. He kind of plays a little bit below it, but he could yam it if he's open. He has it seems like he has a long wingspan. I haven't checked it out exactly, but it seems like he could just yam it off of a normal drive to the hoop. Energy guy. I think defensively he'd be a nice piece for the Knicks. If he could be better than, freaking Summer League or G League fodder. Plays a passing lanes really well, can play a good point of attack defense. Just a good Clay type of piece. So I know people like Eric Dixon. People call him a poor man's Randall coming out of Villanova. I think he looks a little overweight, if that makes any sense. One of those guys who I just feel like, unless he's crazy on his diet, he could just turn into a chubby, kind of like a chubby power forward. I'm not crazy about his game. He's solid. He'd probably be a safe pick. He'd probably be a guy who could give you numbers in a G League. Does it translate to the league? I don't know if he's explosive enough for it to truly translate lefty, which is fine. But yeah, those are like really most of the guys I've watched, and I think the two Kobe's and Watkins, who they already interviewed, are the guys I'm probably the most drawn to. The other guys they've already worked out. R.J. Lewis from St. John's. Remember he basically transferred or said he's going to be out of St. John's after that awful first round game where he missed everything out the wazoo for St. John's. Chucky Hepburn from Louisville they interviewed or they worked out. Izan Alasma. Again, these going to be names that most people are going to be like, what? R.J. Felton, Caleb Grill, Ty Johnson. So, yeah, it's not the greatest of lists. Again, at 50, I don't think the Knicks are going to trade up. I haven't heard anything concrete about them possibly trading up to get better players like, was it Adam Tier? Can't pronounce this guy's name. From Wisconsin. The guy transferred from Kentucky to Wisconsin with Calipari. The forward, the 6'8" guy, like explosive. He's not a great shooter. That'd be a good pick for the Knicks, but he's probably gonna get chosen early in the second round. So I don't know. But Darcy, any other names, man? Nick G. I don't know if you checked out any names.
No, I hadn't checked out any names. I had the draft. This player is not gonna play, so I don't.
Yeah, it's just
no matter who the coach is, they're not gonna play him. They gotta be outstanding.
Aaron Scott from St. John's.
Aaron Scott. Yeah, you got yo. Yeah, this is bad, son. We don't got even. Where do we pick Kills? Kills was, I know no one after Kills was great, but at least Kills was what 38. I know he's after Jaden Hardy. Yeah, even this draft is kind of. But I want to ask Nick this, and you two, Darcy, can chime in. How do you feel about the paradigm where you heard, even though Danny Ainge said F.O. that, he still picked Ace Bailey? How do you feel about the whole NIL dynamics, the paradigm now with NIL, and now that players might sit back and threaten, right? If there's a place, you saw Ace Bailey deny working out with certain teams. He only went to 3 teams: Wizards, Pelicans, Nets. How do you feel about players not having leverage in terms of having a paycheck in college and possibly sitting out so they could avoid being drafted by a team they don't want to go to?
Cooper Flagg made more money in college than he would on his rookie contract, so that's a good thing. I mean, guys need options. Once these guys flame out, I know Darcy is the ultimate inspiration guy. Good luck with that. But for the most part, most of these guys are not going to be in the league. Practice, no hard, be inspired, give them minutes, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're going to be out. A lot of these guys are going to be out in the league.
Damn, son.
I'll be glad for them to get drafted. It's a good thing to do. Make your money however you get it, wherever you get it. I don't care. That does not matter at all. Just let these guys make their cash.
Darcy, how do you feel about that?
Inspire somebody. Go ahead.
Play.
Wait, how I feel about what?
About players possibly sitting back so they could choose where they want to go. Would you? I don't think Knicks are going to be bad enough in the near future for that to happen. But could you see a player sitting back and possibly, using his leverage to say, I'm gonna sit out unless this team drafts me? Say a team in the top 10 team, but I gotta fall all the way down here. And if some team is showing me interest, saying they want to draft me, whatever, I'll sit back. Maybe I don't hire an agent, which that could work as well too, because now you're not an amateur, right? Or you haven't entered the amateur field or however it works. So if you hire an agent, say you're a top pick, say I'm not gonna hire an agent. I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna see who's. I'm gonna skip workouts. I want this team at 10 to draft me. And if you other guys try to draft me, I'll go back to college. How do you feel about that dynamic now with the NIL and these guys?
I don't think players should abuse that kind of right, because once you start to abuse the system and it starts to fuck up the money and the flow of things, that's when changes start to occur. Right? They start to make changes or put restrictions in place to stop that now, because you guys, one, if you stop hiring agents, now agents aren't making money, so now you hurting the income, you hurting the business of the industry. That's not a good look. Then that's already encouraging the player to have a certain level of ego coming into the league, right? Thinking that they can dictate stuff. And typically, as a rookie, the ball is not in your court. This team is giving you the opportunity. And so there's a certain level of humbleness that you have to have coming in as a prospect, right? And then also, what kind of perception could that set for the players who are getting ready to play with you? They might look at you and think, oh, this guy has a lot of ego, or he thinks he's better than everyone else, or he thinks he's something special, right? So you don't want to introduce those kind of circumstances, because it can interrupt the industry, it can interrupt the locker room that player is going to go to, and then also it can hurt the perception of that player as they make their way throughout the league, right? Regardless of how talented they are, right? There's certain players that certain narratives have never left them, and has stayed with them to this day, right? Cam Reddish, you have certain guys who, once the narrative is there, Zion Williamson, once that narrative is there, it's very hard to shake it. And so I think players have to be wary of that. I think you should stick to the program, stick to what works, appreciate the fact that you are making it to the NBA, be humble, go where you're drafted, and just be the best player that you can be.
Fair enough.
I think it does hurt Ace Bailey, the fact that he has a first time agent too, because there's some poor decisions made.
It's
If I'm not mistaken, it was a first time agent.
It's oh my gosh, who's the guy who messed short Auburn point guard, short guy, the guy that Miles McBride basically turned into food in summer league. Short, with the hair, big hair, short point guard, Auburn.
Man,
You know what I'm talking about.
the one who Mark wanted to draft.
Yeah, somebody I didn't like him. Is my gosh, what is this guy's name? Yeah, I think he's advised. I'm not sure if that's an agent, but I know that he was advising. He might be his agent. But no, Darcy, I agree with you, man. They're gonna find a way to change up the system if that starts to happen. But I'm telling you, the first big name, because Ace Bailey was
Omar Cooper.
Amari Cooper. So I could definitely see that happen. But last question before we head out of here, man. Things have been changing in the Eastern Conference. Celtics, the Knicks succeeded in the War of the Wings. We just couldn't get past the Pacers, but we took care of the Celtics, right? They disbanded. Trading off KP, Drew Holiday, who I wish was cheaper. He's $32 million. I would love Drew Holiday off the bench for the Knicks. The rest of the Eastern Conference is still weak, man. 76ers, Halliburton is going to be out for a year. Cavaliers is still, I don't trust them until they have an answer to move Jarrett Allen, because he's trash in the playoffs. He is not a big-time center. You just can't depend on him. Other teams I'm not convinced by. Obviously, they fell down. A team I am a little bit scared of, or at least two, somewhat, the Magic, because now they got the shooting, because they need that badly in the playoffs. But Paolo showed you could be a number one guy you could build around in the playoffs. He was trying to take the Celtics head on, and he just didn't have enough help. And then the Hawks. Now, Nick G, you texted me today about the Hawks. Your thoughts on KP going over to the Hawks? I think you like the move, even though you have some reservations regarding, obviously, his injury history. But they do have an explosive. They have a solid core down there, right? I mean, Trae Young is Trae Young, but Jalen Johnson being healthy, I think, was ascending. Resize share to me is still mixed. I'm kind of like whatever on his game, but again, Dyson Daniels has been an absolute terror on defensive end. He plays well alongside a guy in Trae Young who's just not a good defensive player. So I want you guys to talk to me about the landscape of the Eastern Conference, and if the Knicks do not at least make the finals, is this a failure in the so-called project, the years where Brunson's not getting paid, and us being able to take advantage of that cheap contract? Talk to me about the Eastern Conference landscape. How you feel the Knicks going to fare out.
Before we get into that, I see they just put out a video where a reporter asked Cooper Flagg after getting drafted. They asked him if Jason Kidd had given him any assurance that he was going to be his coach next year. And Cooper was like, no. we didn't have any conversations specifically like that, but he was like, he did say that he has a vision for how he could use his game and stuff like that. And basically, that's pretty much where those conversations were.
How do you sound? Was it like the cookie cutter type of, or was it like, oh no, I spoke to Jason and he?
Yeah, I mean, he sounded like he was being honest. He didn't seem like he was trying to, he just seemed like he was like just giving a very stern answer. He's like, no, we didn't have anything specific about that, but he did say he thinks about how he can use my game and stuff like that.
Fair enough. I'm Jason Kidd. I'm trying to get the hell out of Mavericks, bro. Like, you did this to me, son. Like, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it.
What's wrong with Nick? What's wrong with this guy?
Nah, forget the question, bro. That's it.
Yeah. So you have no thoughts on the Eastern Conference landscape, Darcy?
Oh,
I think you forgot.
No, of course I did. I'm not really feeding into the whole narrative about the East being wide open. I'm not going into things setting that expectation, because Knicks fans will continue to set ourselves up for disappointment if things don't pan out how we want it to, which more often than not for most teams, 99% of the teams, it will not pan out how they want it to. So the reality is that we have to understand is, the core focus is getting the right coach, right? Getting valuable pieces with your veteran minimum deals that you have to offer. So hopefully getting players that are worth more than veteran minimums to sign veteran minimums. And then from there is you want a coach that the offense is going to have more versatility to it, and it's going to be free-flowing, and just more plays where the Knicks don't have to work so hard to score. And so I think if you focus on building the team with those essentials in place, then this roster, if they focus on building the right habits, then they will win regardless of what happens in the East. Because the thing about it is the offseason hasn't happened. We don't know what moves these teams are going to make yet. We don't know what teams are going to do in free agency. We don't know what kind of sign and trades are going to happen. Other teams see that the East is open, and because that narrative is flowing, teams may say, hey, we got to strike right now. This is our chance to win. So there could be a random team right now that randomly makes a big trade. Detroit has about 25 to 30 million in cap space. Who knows what they're going to do to improve? They can make some trades. The Cavs, they just got eliminated in 5 games. They may shake things up and finally decide to break up that core that they have in place. Right? The Celtics are not done dealing. They're still taking. So you just don't know what.
So then why is it so? Okay, to be fair, expectations for the Knicks then this regular season. My
expectation is at least 55 wins, bearing any unforeseen injuries. Right?
Okay.
And my expectation is the finals.
Okay.
Anything under that is unacceptable. But I won't. For me, it's like if we go to the finals, I expected us to go to the finals this past season. I said it before the playoffs started. I said, hey, I watched Jalen Brunson go to the second round with less talent. So to me, with more talent around you, regardless of what happened in the regular season, when it's playoff times, you locked in with the same opponent, this team should go the distance. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. I do believe we should have beat the Pacers. And I do feel like we could have potentially beat OKC, not guaranteed, but potentially. But we'll never know that. We'll have to find out next year. But I expect the finals berth for this team. And I expect to see more synergy given that this team has had more time to gel. You get a full training camp with each other, which you didn't have with Karl Anthony Towns because of that trade. You get a full training camp together. You guys have played together a full season, so you know you're familiar with each other, assuming everyone comes back. And then you just get a few bench pieces. Now, the concern, and I won't say a concern, but the thing to be skeptical about is how will the new coach change the offense? And will the players be able to adapt quickly with that? Because they're still technically only 1 year in, and they've played under Thibs. This coach may introduce an entirely different system than what these players are used to running. Especially if you get a guy like Taylor Jenkins who used LaRoche's offense. That's a more modern offensive scheme, and the Grizzlies players didn't really fully buy into it because you mean
no. He utilized the pick and roll system between Ja and JJ, and it's not the players didn't buy into it. Klyman want to change it up. But also remember, Kleiman fired all of Jenkins' assistants. Fired all of them outside of, I think.
I'm going off of what Ja Morant said in regards to it. He didn't like that there wasn't any more pick and roll. That's Ja
Right, but that wasn't LaRose. That was Lasola's.
That was Kleiman.
Yeah, it was Kleiman who came in and switched it up. Jenkins was the one who tried to make it.
From what I read from the Athletic, they said it was the offense that LaRoche, because I looked up LaRoche specifically. I looked up his offense. And what I got from that, what I gathered was that the issue was that it takes away the pick and roll, and that was an issue for Ja Morant. And Taylor Jenkins and LaRoche put that program in. And
Right. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying like the story sucks. I read that. I read several, and it was Kleiman, right, who basically was pushing for more. Oh, so obviously LaRoche was the assistant head coach who is like his duties, whatever. But he was being forced by Kleiman, and I won't say influenced, but then Lasola was the one who's like the mastermind of the motion offense off ball. So. It's just, you're right. I'm just saying that like how it was made. So it wasn't that they were the face of it, but they were like Kleiman was forcing them to get the ball off Ja Morant's hands. So because
and I mean they forced him to hire different assistants and stuff like that. So he didn't have full control over what was going on there. But again, I just you want to know that whatever is implemented that is not too far off from what these players like. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. You don't want to get a coach in there who's going to say, hey, well, I see this or these guys can do this, and they're not buying in, right? It needs to click, and it needs to happen early because if it doesn't happen early, it's going to be a lot of talk to start the season about this new coaching hire if they don't get off to a decent start. And, I mean, again, if you're not playing well within the first 10 games, okay, that's cool. But once we get to the first 25 games, if you guys are not at least a decently amount of games over 500, there's going to be a little concern that's going to grow. It's going to be a little skepticism. And honestly, you're going to stick with the coach because you hired them. You're going to at least probably give them a year or two to get things right. But you want to hope that it doesn't take that kind of that type of length. But I think there's so many variables at play right now, not just with the Knicks, but just the Eastern Conference with so many teams looking to add talents and teams looking to get under the second apron. I don't think that we're going to be, at the start of the playoffs, the only team with real title hopes. I look at the Cavs. They're going to make moves. I know they will. They're not just going to stay put. You got a team like the Celtics. It's no telling what they're going to do. They could decide, hey, we still want to remain competitive.
They're trying to get into that second apron, son. What is it?
They're already under it now. They're already under it.
Yeah.
So but and they're listening to offers on Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Who knows what will happen there? You still have Giannis, who's undecided about things. He's waiting to see what the Bucks do, right? So that could shift gears in terms of the Knicks thinking. So I just feel like there's so many variables at play right now that I won't say that I'm going to just right off the bat put these crazy expectations on the Knicks. But I think just generally, it's the same concept of, you need to make it to the finals. You need to progress to the next level. And you don't need to, I don't want to make it to the finals and lose. I don't want to make it to the finals and lose. You need to put the most competitive roster out there that you can possibly put out there. And one of the biggest things that the Knicks just did for themselves that helps them significantly is you got rid of Tom Thibodeau. So now,
how's it get back to
for this specific reason?
That's wild, man. But how about this? Do you think? And again, we don't know who it is, but unless you get Kidd, Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson, that was his man. Like he attributes Tibbs as a guy who he developed, or obviously has his best numbers under and became a lead guard under, right? I also look at it like you have to find a coach that's able to connect to Jalen Brunson. Because Jalen Brunson can play hero ball. And there's nothing worse than having the best player on the team feel that you're not as good as the previous coach who he truly blossomed under. And so now he's the big dog. He's a husky in the freaking locker room. And now he's running ish. So if you make this hire, this is why these assistant coaches do that stuff, man. I don't know if we have a locker room strong enough where you have a Siakam and a Kawhi and it's like and a Kyle Lowry back with the 2019 whatever Raptors. It's like, all right, those guys can almost coach themselves. They get it. I'm not sure we have a locker room like that. So I know you said before it don't matter which coaches they have. To me, it does matter. You gotta find.
No, I don't mean literally it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. I just said they have to get it right.
Right.
But my whole point is the coach. I'm saying to me the name doesn't matter. I don't need this person to have a flashy name. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be somebody that I'm expecting us to hire. I expect that regardless of who they go with, I expect this coach to be somebody who does things differently than what Tom Thibodeau has done. I expect to see a difference. I expect to see more players touching the court. I expect it to be a culture difference, slight culture difference, and I expect the offense to look different and more versatile. That's what I'm looking for. And as long as that's the case, I don't care who the name is. I don't care who the face is behind the work. I just want to see the work. I want to see the progress. I want to sample the soup of what it looks like to maximize and get the most out of this offense.
Fair enough. All right, don't disagree. Nick, thoughts on the Eastern Conference landscape? The trades have been done recently with the Celtics. Magic, you talk about with Desmond Bane getting some shooting that they desperately needed. How do you feel about the Eastern Conference landscape, sir?
Like two Achilles basically shifted the whole East, right? I was after the final, well, before the finals started, I wanted to know. Last year we built the team to beat the Celtics. We beat them. Celtics are down. Do we build a team to beat the Pacers? Now the Pacers are down. So now are we building to beat the Cavs? Depends on who you think is the number one team in the East, right? Like for me, just playing. Anyway, playing time matters nothing to me. It's all about the players that we have, and also like how you end up utilizing it. I felt like Thibodeau kind of under maximized the team. Like I felt like there was some things that could have been done that hadn't been done, and like I'm not big on the give Tyler Kolek minutes. I don't care about Tyler Kolek or any specific young player, but I am about getting rhythm for certain players. As soon as you figure out your top 10, top 8, whatever it is, I need that team to be optimized. I didn't feel like some plays were run to optimize Cat in the best ways possible because I felt like he needed a mix. I felt like we didn't have enough styles to match different fights. That was one thing that I felt like could have been done better. I felt like we had an offense that needed fine-tuning at the beginning of the season that changed about 4 times that I count. Some of it was because of injuries. But for me, I would love to see a defensive wing-based bench. A team that would just come in and muck it up, make teams uncomfortable, get them out of their rhythm, and bring back in the starting 5 and just wreak havoc offensively. Like I don't. That's why I said Bruce Brown would be nice. I know we can't get him, but I'm just saying guys that could go fast break, up and down, push the pace. Josh Hart is a one-man fast break, rebound and fast break. Mitchell Robinson off the bench. I felt like Hucker Purdy could do some of that. He has a little mid-range on him. I felt like you could get 1, 2, 3 pick and roll. Like you could get something going offensively off the bench. And I'm not one of these ball movement players. Ball movement works until ball movement doesn't work, or the team figures you out. Sometimes players got to play one-on-one as well. So each player being versatile enough to hit a spot-up shot, make cuts, get rebounds, get up and down the court, I'm good with that. That's what I want to see. I think Taylor Jenkins, from a pick and roll standpoint, could bring out the 1-5 pick and roll that we did not see much of or enough of out of Cat and Brunson. And then like I truly feel like someone else might be able to get a better rapport and also maximize Mikal. Otherwise, Mikel's got to go because like he's up for a contract. It's either him or OG, and I prefer keeping OG. The next coach, I would rather maximize OG than maximizing Mikel.
Yeah, I
Mikel,
can't. Yeah, I can't maximize Mikal. Sorry, it's my son, but he's like Darcy said, bro. If you talking about 30, 33 mil, you talking, but
no. I'm not saying max him. I'm saying maximize him, like the way you
oh,
use.
offensive. Oh, okay, okay.
It's just how you run him. Because he could easily come in and have the best year of his career next year under
Yeah,
whoever the coach is.
less
And
minutes.
that might make, and we could make a run to the finals, win or lose, and that could make you say, hey, I like how this coach used Mikal. Let's keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could easily get a Brunson like contract. Or, like, there is a thing where he actually was overused on defense. That could have affected his offense. I'm not saying that is a justified excuse. I'm just saying he did get overused on defense. Like he was chasing after everyone.
Yep.
I felt like if you put Miles McBride inside the starting five and have Miles run after people at least a little bit, that would have offset some of Mikel's responsibility. So like it could be something as just his usage on defense or usage on offense, the way you use him. So I'm not putting anything behind anyone. I felt like there are some good candidates that they're interviewing. I like some of the things that I saw out of Quinn Snyder from Atlanta that makes me hope that Johnny Bryant could do some of, because he's been noted as having the whole Utah playbook or whatever
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. Like,
The whole
yeah,
Euro basketball.
it's just it depends on the way guys are used, and can you relate to these guys, because this is now you're starting to do the Phil Jackson, Steve Kerr thing, where you have to connect with the guys.
Yep.
And then Cat is another X factor. Like, would Cat stay engaged? Who
Yes.
could keep Cat engaged? Like, we're not trading for Gobert to protect Cat. Like, that's not happening. I mean, and Mitch is there, but I prefer to keep Mitch. I prefer to keep Miles McBride. I felt like Coley next year could get some minutes, but I'm not big on Kolek if he can't drive to the basket. But historically, I looked at Dante DiVincenzo. I looked at Quickly, RJ. They all improved under Johnny Bryant because he taught guys how to do the floater, how to get to the rim and finish at the rim. So I felt like from a development standpoint, he could add to some guys' game. So that's why my big Johnny Bryant pitch, but and that way we could kind of like keep things in house without changing much, and then you could wholesale change things if need be. But it really just depends. I don't. This coach is big. Number one, I feel like
Hey, yo, pause.
or trade Mitch. Yeah, sorry. Pause. Trade or keep Mitch is another big pause
It's
thing. Um, because Mitch is up for a contract and he's always hurt. Like he might have a good year next year, but what do you have to do to keep him healthy? And
right.
should we invest in players that we have to specifically like tailor the whole team around keeping healthy? Because when Mitch is in the game, he's dominant. He is dominant. So
Can be. Yeah. I agree. I think with Johnny Bryant, you might almost see like a Tex Winters type, who's gonna be able to be like the broad game plan guy, because Johnny Bryant, he's a developmental guy, right? And when we talk about what's your man, Donovan Mitchell. Like he was like instrumental in helping Donovan Mitchell get to certain angles on the floor. Like he was big on that development thing. I just think that with certain development guys, sometimes they become so like they specialize so much in that they don't have the broad like picture as to how to run the team. Right?
But remember, like of all Tibbs' assistants, he was the only one that truly had the liberty to talk to him on the sideline.
Right.
Like he really does have something about him that he could connect with people.
Right.
And remember, Tibbs is also non-confrontational, so he doesn't talk to the players the same way as some of his assistants did. That's why you needed Woody and pause, et cetera, et cetera. Like you needed other guys on the team to help him.
No, I agree. I still think the East. This is a time to strike.
Oh yeah, it is. I actually do think also it's time for us to go cross the second apron too. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, we gotta discuss that, man. Ugh.
Yeah, crossing that second apron puts you in a 3-year timeline.
Yep. You gotta get out of it by year 3. Cannot be out in it 3 out of 5. You be,
but the big thing is Cat's contract is constantly going to rise, right?
Yep.
But every year it's going to go up. The cap is going to go up 10 mil.
Right.
Your man is eligible for a 2-year, $150 million extension.
Yeah. I'm not paying Cat. I don't care. Some people be all this talk about maximizing Cat, man. Cat has to find himself to be a better player on both ends of the floor, man. I'm not. Look, Cat is a talented player, but he ain't. It's something missing about that guy, man. And I don't want to be too late for us to be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, Cat wasn't that type of guy. He got to buy in.
I'm bothered by the fact that other players were very irritated at Cat on blowing defensive assignments when he got it correct, like previous plays. Like he's so on and off.
Cat might be, when I saw what he did against the Celtics, it's like, I felt like we were going to get to the finals. When Cat was playing up, all I asked this season, I said, Cat, trust your feet. And I said this on the channel, I was like, Cat, when he's playing in isolation, is actually not that bad defensively.
No, he's not. But that's what I'm saying. Who's going to keep him engaged? And then, so that's, if you want to save James Borrego will bench him.
Yeah. Borrego don't give a F.
He might lose it. Then he might lose him because he's such a baby. You know what I mean? Right. So.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sorry. I'm going to get killed for this. I'm not trying to start no beef with nobody else. I watched another channel's video on Cat and I almost spat on it. Because they cherry-picked every little positive. When they said Cat had less threes than Julius Randle, so that's an issue. And they said, well, Cat killed it in Game 3. Oh, wait, hold up. Why didn't you mention Game 4 and Game 5? Because it'll kill the narrative that a Cat that's shooting a whole bunch of threes is a so-called better Cat. When Cat's defense was actually the bigger detriment or the bigger impediment to us not winning from Cat's production than his so-called three-point shooting. Game 4, the third quarter, Cat I think it was Siakam in Turner in foul trouble, and if the Knicks kept going to Cat instead of going to Mikal Bridges and then Brunson, Knicks could have won Game 4. Game 5, Cat killed. We won that game. Cat had their bigs in trouble. The game plan, if I could change it around to where now you're using Thomas Bryant and Bradley in your front court versus Siakam and Turner, that is a major weapon versus, hey, let's get Cat more three-point shots. Now, granted, I would have loved for Cat to get more three-point shots versus the what's-the-name. But it's not as if Chet Holmgren was killing from the outside like that against the Pacers. The Pacers have a good defense. They have a very active defense. So I don't think Cat was going to get a whole bunch of easy or open shots from outside anyway. But that's what I want to say. That video, I got so pissed. I'm like, this is just absolute garbage how they're allowing Cat to get away with this stuff and maximizing Cat. And Cat put up 7, 8 3-point shots, I think, in a year. They had 19 wins for the Wolves. Like this whole idea to maximize Cat by getting him 3-point shots. So it's a modern day. He averaged 4.7 threes this year, which is only down from 5.3 the year before. I'm more concerned about the synergy between him and Brunson, why that fade away in the second half of the season, and his defense. You fix those two, the Knicks are probably in the finals. Simple as that. You went from playing up against the Celtics to where the Celtics got confused. And Darcy, thank you, Darcy, for pointing out how you talked about how Kat said, yo, we watched the film of the first two games and then adjusted, even though they were playing up on the screens in the first two games, but how they adjusted. And then you went away from that against the Pacers, who were shooting threes as well, too. You literally went back to drop back. It made no freaking sense. So, Cat, man, the big ass question mark.
There's such a good player in there, but it's like tin can to trash can, man. You know what I mean? So
you made a good point.
I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not gonna be frustrated tonight. Not by Darcy, not by. Y'all ain't getting me tonight.
Oh man, well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Darcy, as always, talking about Mitch could run that. Mitch ain't run no damn double screens, man. Get that.
Thanks for being annoying, Darcy.
Thanks for being annoying. My brother Darcy, man. If Darcy's feeling himself, he worked out, man. He's smoking his little grabba. His little I'm joking.
Nah, I just straight papers, man. No grabba, man.
I appreciate you, Darcy. Nick, as always, man. We got a lot more to talk about. Got to talk about, you second apron team, man. Maybe I'll be the show for next week, man. And I got to
I got a whole GPT on the second apron. So I mean on the CBA. So.
All right. Let's do it next week, man. So we're gonna talk about second apron. Are the Knicks a second apron team, and how we're gonna set this up to get there? And obviously we got to incorporate the 10% increase to the cap and all that jazz. But it's definitely gonna be something to talk about. I also got to get to mid-level exception options. I don't know why I'm late on this video, but I need to actually. That'll be a standalone video. I got to get to that. But tomorrow hopefully I'll put out a video on who the Knicks choose. We're probably not even gonna choose. They probably just throw that pick away and put it to next year. Some Leon Rose-ish. But guys, I appreciate you, man. Nick G, as always. Guys in the chat, thank you guys for tuning in. You could have been, you're obviously watching the draft as well too, which is actually a boring draft. But I appreciate you guys, man. Peace, Lou. God bless, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Well, thank you, sir. Oh, yeah, I'll go to sleep, bro. Peace.
Peace.